so colorful, deep-rooted in originality. Eye candy of shallow minds, that was her reality. Still, she walks around with a smile for the whole wide world to see. Inside's a screaming, free yourself from strains of society. Brown skin, why do you hide the pain within? Brown skin, brown skin. Day in, day out, it's the same, living by the standards of a male domain. She can't help but recognize the stares, cause of who she's talking to, the clothes she wears. Yet she holds her head up high for the whole wide world to see. Inside's a screaming, free yourself from strains of society. Brown skin, why do you hide the pain within? Brown skin, brown skin, brown skin, why do you hide the pain within? Brown skin, how long will you continue to pretend that who you know where you go won't face the life you live? That what you do where you be will catch up with you in the end. Yeah. Live your own life, don't worry about the need to please. Be the queen of your own society. Yeah, yeah. Brown skin, brown skin, brown skin, brown skin.
Cante hondo de cosas preciosas for Mary Dixon. The naked boy stood silently within light of the moon, transfixing time of the plaza. Water rushed from the spout, drained momentarily in the air, fell into profundity of the pool. The boy copied a dance of fountain waters, raising a hand, extending an arm, rising upon one leg, like dawn commencing, he danced. Men came from houses with rifles and stood in a circle about the naked boy. Suddenly thin air screamed. In the morning, women found marble ridden with holes, the pool glistening with silver.
What I know. The open heart remains a sacred mystery. As wisdom grows, the greatest love delivers hope. That is what we know. All around us, lovers get tangled and twisted. Human nature is brutal and obsessive, and fear so instinctual. That is what we know. Long ago, a monster changed me. In one moment, crushing my heart in his hands, I learned then, if I fear, I can't love. That is what I needed to know. Love lessens pain, washes away sadness, massages the contours of memory. Love can heal anyone. That is what I wanted to know. Love can end a child's curse. Love can move a lover to fight a monster and win. That is what I know. As sacred a mystery, love is the cure, the medicine, the magic, the sword, and the savior. Love is what I know.
Objective data. There is a reason all the old aunties whisper and pay attention to who is speaking. Truth has more definitions than can fit in a dictionary, especially yours, which is owned by companies of sleeping people who keep company with the drowsy edge of history that tells its own solipsisms and lets the rest slide off into dusk. Take me out to a field of yarrow at sunset and catalog all the colors of grandmother's memories. Tell me about gathering what they have known for ages. I will tell you how the rocks you believe lack agency are intending to survive, actively plotting a form of nonviolent resistance. Listen. Si no habla español, you will never understand, not because these stones speak Spanish, but because you need to know more than one tongue in order to learn how to hear. When Derrida lectured in 5 languages, he didn't want to make a point. He was trying to sound like flowers blossoming in rich soil, who sing in sounds not heard by human ears for centuries. The sand covers information, though the wind does not lie as it ripples the dunes open. Everything lost comes back in its howling caresses. Split the stories into percentages. Test them with a one-way ANOVA analysis. They are still stories. If by now you don't see why the old aunties whisper in fits of raspy laughter, you never will.
Big river of ice. Big river of ice, wait for me. Don't melt away too soon. Stay strong for me, my friend. Hold me up. Don't let me fall into the blues. Don't let me fall into the blues. There's been a lot of sorrow around this house, and there's been some tribulation. So, big river of ice, I'm coming to see ya. Coming to walk my blues away. Well, she told me it was a good day to walk on water, this curenda of Mawinawasik. That it would cure my cabin fever, my one-room apartment fever, that it would cure my winter blues. She said that the ice was safe, or safe as it would ever be, frozen all the way to Mawinawasik Point. So I step into my big black boots and they take me for a ride. Barging one slow, hard one step at a time through a sideways acre of virgin snow, down the steep hill to the river, shoveling a new path through the crust with my kneecaps, which now appear to be the bottom of my legs, and I step out into the river of ice, and at last I am walking on water. The biggest miracle is that I'm not afraid. Flirting with disaster with every move I make, the ice is a foot-thick horizontal wall, or it might be only inches, between me and my fears, that run like a torrent beneath the placid surface, and for me, this is a prayerful moment. O you who made all things, you who made the water and the ice, please do not forsake me now. Don't let me fall into oblivion. Don't dunk me like the clown in the circus, that obnoxious clown prince of chin music, and the protest poetry that dares to complain about what God has wrought. And don't baptize me in winter water in the dark place at the very bottom of Deep Water Lake, where all my fears lie in waiting. Like Willowemoc, the elk-horned water monster, shape-shifter, people-eater, enemy of all sky beings. Willowemoc, but deliver me from fear, the killer of clarity. Let me live. This is my prayer. So I slip and I slide slowly down the river towards town, like it was some old abandoned turnpike that the Wappingers travelers left behind, hiding in plain sight, for those that had the eyes to see. Everything looks different somehow out here in this sea of silence, and it gives one some perspective. Testing my childhood fears with every step, I can almost face a couple of grown-up ones as well. Fears much worse than walking on ice.
The cycle continues. You don't know what it's like, always being on display, people staring at you, people mocking you, all because you're an Indian. They say, "Are you Hispanic or Italian? You can't be white. Well, you must be black. What exactly are you anyway? Mixed?" They're always denying who you are and make you carry a card around to prove it. "Woo, woo, 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 can you make it rain? Where's your feathers, Injun?" they taunt. So you stand there like a freak at a sideshow. There never stop the stares, the gawking, the mockery. The ignorance has been passed down from generation to generation. Their ancestors tried to kill us all. They try to deny us all by making us something else. But the fact remains we're not going anywhere. And so the cycle continues. And I stand here once again on display. And I try to educate them a little while I have the spotlight. And a few change their minds about us, and a few could care less. But I've done my best to make the world a little less ignorant. Why can't you just accept me for who I am, a human being?
This is from a section called Chambers. You think first the body makes room for them, then the heart makes room. We open and close like tides. The heart is the motion of water. I brought this gift for you. It's a chambered nautilus. It belonged to my father. I've kept it all this time. Do you know it forms its chambers by the cycles of the moon? When these animals are alive, they rise to the surface of water each night, and they descend back into the depths each day. It has many chambers, unlike the human heart, said to have only 4. Mine had 6, all of them broken. Still, I remember children asleep in my arms. My heart had so much room for their sweetness. At least the servants were my childmates, my own people who did not envy me. They understood our position and were kind to me. They came to me in secret and with happiness as we recalled our childhoods. In my life, I slipped from queen to pawn. There was no more belonging. I was the bear who wandered out of her den to find that the land had changed. The wolf mother trying to protect her small ones as they were being smoked out. Sometimes you know it is hard to dream when women are crying. It is hard to breathe in any chamber where nothing is green. They know I long to be outdoors in the lush green of the island, hearing the sound of wind and waves, to see round stones and soft mosses. I cannot live in the darkness of these rooms. I only dwell here in this chambered building. When I think of these things, I lose my strength. I could live better in the caves on the hillside, where trees are bent by the wind, where crystals form slowly, so slowly, growing with each drop of water to meet one another each day.
Long time ago for Lance Henson. Long time ago, invisible in the woods, wolves ran alongside us. Long time ago, unseen panthers purred along night branches, gold eyes, many grandmother moons lighting our path. Long ago, before the wolves were trapped in a gauntlet and clubbed. Long ago, before the great cats were shot into extinction. I have heard it said, long time ago, our hearts greeted strangers like mountain roses, fully opened. I have heard it told, we really did know Indian love medicine, touch so tender, it made us cry tears in shapes of blue deer and brave eagles. Brother in poetry, long time ago, we learned how to condole each other when our hearts closed, reopen our ears, eyes, throats. Oh, my brother, I am so afraid. The wolves, the panthers, our moon-flowered hearts, long time ago, long time ago.
Upon the tornadic plains of Washita, a crow sits in morning light, looking east, where she sleeps when medicine sits down in the wide hand of a summer day, in the confusion of drones and secret prisons, the long dream that died before it was born. The sky goes on eating the oceans. Men continue eating themselves. Unrelenting human shame, all that remains on the glass road the gods used to depart.
Oh, chatting with, chatting, jump, 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 jump. Chatting with, jump, hey, jump, chawi umbanju go ana, huggy, hoo, oh, huggy, hoo, oh.
And this one is called Word as Fish, and the epigraph is from the Gospel of John. When they had gone ashore, they saw a charcoal fire there with fish on it and bread. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them and did the same with the fish. Our teacher tells us, ask for the words you need. Example, doat, cat, weisha. Doat, the mouth of the river where the blood will answer. Shimmer of silver on rainbow scales. As you slept, I drew breath from your depths, mountains shawled with purple clouds. Doat, how in the violence of love you fell free of your knife. Behind the mask of your fear lies your true clan. Thunder and lightning together come close to the tumult of us. The hook requires an open mouth. Doat, the formula for binding and release. Never more hate than where love withheld. Ducks devoured entrails and head. Our enemies are those who know our secrets best. Doat, calling your name in my sleep, I wake to your shape. Dance of war and desire, smeared with red paint made from bear fat. Leap of resistance at moment of capture. Doat, when I dream of you, your knife is always at my life. My mouth waters for a taste. Doat, wood smoke of your skin, smell of smoking fish. Clay pot held in shape by fire alone, blackened by sorrow. Doat, the price of intimacy is the stress of the bead on the cloth. Somewhere I have the words to tell you who I am. They're stuck in my throat, lodged in my blood. Here, draw them out, fish on fish from that deep place. Feed me as you did before, for I am hungry now. Agiyo Shiha.
It's good to see all of you here. It's good to be here at Alcatraz under this kind of a reality, circumstance anyway. But for me, this will always be a place, because I entered into another reality when I came to Alcatraz 30 years ago. I really did. It was like I entered into the reality of the past and the present and the future, because there was something that was about that spirit thing that was really happening to make us say we're going to be alive again. So this will always be a place, that was an opening to reality, an opening to reality for me. And one of the things I'm going to say about that, though, is Whatever happens to us in our life, no matter what it is, does not matter what it is. Traumatic or glorious, no matter whatever happens to us in our life, is there to make us stronger. And if we understand that, our strength will become stronger. If we do not understand that, our weakness will become stronger. But something's going to get stronger. You know, so somewhere we wander through. And that's what I learned from Alcatraz. Dizzy duck, my brother to like-minded sang. Every day, a little small duck walked by the shop for big and tall men. How he wanted, but he just couldn't go in. So depressing for poor Dizzy. He had to impress himself. So he went to another store to buy himself a gun. The gun store man said, "Let's see some ID." Says Dizzy, "I don't need any. I'm a duck." "Oh yeah," says the gun store man. So Dizzy got his gun. Nothing like a gun to make a duck feel like a man. His very own gun. How he loved his very own gun. Dizzy liked life with his very own gun. Pretty soon his gun was his very best friend. He loved his gun so much, he got another one. Because he didn't want his gun to get lonely when he had to leave it all alone. Like when he went to the airport, or when he went duck-nizing.
The Jesus of Pine Ridge from the Indian Reservation of South Dakota was raised speaking Lakota until he was 5 years old, until he was sent to the boarding school mission on the res, where the nuns washed his native language out of him every time he was caught speaking, and washed in English with white bar soap. He had the same recurring dream of nuns crucifying him atop an old wooden telephone pole with number 2 lead pencils driven through his palms and feet, wire notebook binder stretched and wrapped around his head like a crown of thorns, pages of Big Chief notepad paper fastened around his waist like a loincloth. After he ran away from the boarding school at age 15, he never again had that dream. In that ending of his prophecy vision, he knew he was the Jesus of Pine Ridge. He contemplated this deliverance into his mid-20s with 1,000 communions of fry bread and Gibson white port wine. He figured he needed a sturdy chariot to lead his people into the promised land, into the Black Hills of South Dakota. So he traded for a mighty steed of faded yellow and rust, a 1964 Chrysler Newport from the reservation border town of Gordon, Nebraska. Every car needs a name, so he called it his Jesus Chrysler. 10 years and 10 used cars later, he had survived the crazy countless dumb luck adventures he survived, like the time he could fly, well, more like fall, off a 300-foot cliff in the Black Hills. But he had survived, just as he had survived the jail time, booze, bad drugs, even falling off a 300-foot cliff in the Black Hills could never kill the Jesus of Pine Ridge. But maybe he died a long time ago, and this life is his resurrection, the chosen one to deliver all of us from evil. The Jesus of Pine Ridge. This has been the gospel according to lukewarm water.
Una invitación consciente. It is the sun with its bitole rays that bring us new life. It is the moon's radiance that watches over us during the night. It is the female rain that gently washes away our fears. It is the breeze that caresses our skin, making us strong as we walk on the land. On this sun day, I offer my thoughts for all of our journeys to succeed. This is hard labor. The ancestors knew we were coming. They left work for us. Now we carry our wisdom forward. Know who you are, sabe quién eres. Know your land, conoce tu tierra. Know your language, aprende tu idioma. Do not let spells affect you. Like every other achievement of human thought, we have emerged culturally and religiously. We are still exploring the possibilities for future growth. Seeking and testing, we take time to measure our generations and know that through working together, we continue to build decent conditions for our people. This is our obligation. Never give up.
I want to cancel my appointment, I told the woman at the front desk. Instead of birth control counseling, I need a pregnancy test. The doctor at the free clinic rubbed his beard. If you don't have any money, you'll have to apply for welfare. He scribbled an address and a phone number on a piece of paper and handed it to me. The next morning, I phoned social welfare to make an appointment, was told they didn't give out appointments. Interviews were on a first-come, first-served basis. The route to the office was only 5 miles away. The building was a colorless 1960s block of concrete. At the reception counter, under bad fluorescent lighting, I filled out the forms. The clerk took my paperwork and motioned for me to sit down. Number 32, the social worker called out. I was number 56. My shorts were soaked with sweat, and my bare legs stuck to the orange plastic chair. The room was filled with women and crying babies. I thought of my mother at 15, pregnant with me. Finally, my number was called, and I was led into a windowless office. The social worker lit a cigarette and smoked from her nose like a dragon. "Are you giving the baby up for adoption?" she asked. The question unnerved me. She eyeballed me up and down and hissed, "You've written down that you're Indian. If it was going to be a white baby, it would be easier to find a family to adopt it." I clenched my jaw to stay calm. Brown-haired and green-eyed, most strangers didn't place me as Indian. But the baby I hadn't meant to create was more Indian than white. The father of my child-to-be was a full-blood. This was my first glimpse at the way race and culture collided at adoption. For the first time, I realized I'd been passing as white whenever it suited me, and that my baby was not white, and that I'd never be white again. The social worker looked at my stunned face and shook her head.
Dragon Canoe speaks. Siogunsini. There is this land, you will call it Transylvania. There is this land, you will call it home. There is this land, you will call it bluegrass. There is this land of cane and green rivers, of savannas and salt licks, buffalo herds, brown bears, and warpaths and sulfur bogs, of excuse me, and deer, tame as your cattle, for not knowing a white man's rifle. There is this land of no man's land, not Chickasaw, not Shawnee, not Delaware, not Wyandotte, not even Cherokee. There is this land, you will call it a strange name, the name a twist of our tongue, and you will take this land, nearly unknowable to us in later years, and as you feel you must, you will find it a trouble land, a dark and bloody ground. With all our bloods will make it so, will make it Gandagagi, which you will in later years call Kentucky. There is this land.
Washington Home, from Spokane to Grand Coulee, January 2009. We traveled through the whiteness, quietly carrying faith, wanting hope to shine forth, the earth's blankets deep, textured, in places glistening, in places the hands of the mystery, drawings of browns, sketches of trees, line images in the snow of homes. Horses stand close to each other, holding themselves against the cold. Traveling lightly, we are filled with wonder, waiting for a sign, a promise to cherish in our hearts. Suddenly, standing alone on the top of a snowbank, we see Coyote, sentinel of our path, messenger from a beloved one, poised, regal, head up, warrior that he is from the old time, a long time ago. We behold each other, keep driving, memory imprinted with his image and ours on his. We travel through the whiteness home. We travel home. For my son, Tom.
I moved home in the spring, but didn't know what that would bring. The journey, truth be told, has been worth its weight in gold, and each day I want to sing. I am a proud member of the Halawa Saponi. That's Halifax and Warren, then Saponi. I'm a single mom, my kids are the bomb, and there's nothing about me that's phony. A few years back, my son grew ill. Everything I knew, my life grew still. All my focus was on him, and I tried to satisfy his every whim, because I didn't know exactly what was God's will. But little man overcame that hump, realizing it was just a life bump. In this beautiful life of ours that is filled with sun, moon, and stars, now he is not afraid of any leap or jump. We only have one life to live. It is up to us what we give. I choose to live mine to the max, 'cause you never know when God's axe will come to complete your life.
Corporate securities. The onshore breeze carries the sound out across the water. The moon floats above, silent. How will this one end? Thanks for meeting me on such short notice. Well, I'd already done my hair. Please come with me. I can't. This is my home. Besides, you don't really want me. Of course I do. I've offered to pay for you to move. Yeah, right. What's that supposed to mean? Don't you trust me? What about your past? You never talk about your scars. That's over. Leave it in the past. I can't tell you about the Ajani. They think I'm dead. If I don't know where you've been, how can I trust where you're going? I don't know what else I can say. Well, I don't either. As the separate taillights fade into the distance, a tiny crater is formed, invisible to the naked eye, as the moon sheds another burning tear.
2. The sea, then our garden, a film char of oil on water, a hiss of tides run up to that which was burning and has gone out, a slow erosion. It is one thing to give oneself to water. I wore down to a spur of myself. A bird with nowhere to land alighted on a femur, a terrible need. The land took a drink of the sea, mountain valleys soft as throats. She knew of submerged peaks recollected in an unheard song, seized in a lesser fever. The induced shore keeps still, a drowned order. 3. Meant to have gone to famine in a season recurring from wind, it would not turn. Into a deep snow and sleep I shook again. If she could not beat the lightness from her clothes, it would become a layer that eddied around in mouth, myriad in everywhere. No animal stirs in the noiseless quick of a year of 2 winters, but marrow, gristle of a bloated fish, roots split and cashed, skin torn from the hull of a boat, long withdrawn from water. 4. hers a burial in damp sand by the springs. Through December willows, green there, alder bark reddens against late snow. Those dead too numerous, no loose entombments beneath scars of rock. Nothing roots in the oldest graves, lichen lifts with a fingernail scrape. Leave belongings piled, the opaque white bead now unstrung. Ivory ferrule, unidentified fragment, the small human figure carved of wood.
Indian land. In the blink of an eye, lightning flashes low over North Texas hills. Wind whips up a dust devil, sweeping a low mesa clean, throwing pebbles and arrowheads alike. This is Indian land. We have known these trails well since the oldest of days. Two horned toads dash under a heavy outcrop of sandstone to wait out the fast-moving storm. They understand spring arrives around here every year like this, with savage rains and fierce, hungry winds.
Longer incantations for August. Eldest frog calls the rain with a rhythm that she has taught to the mountains for centuries, with intent in her rinsed blackberry eye. She throws everything against this raging summer and sings, soft midnight fogs and harder warm rains at dawn, where the arch fell and scattered rubble into that exact stream. The one that now is just a whisper, but sometimes speaks with sounds that we make too, with the sounds that might heal us, and she wants to hear them, so she sings. Alongside the Giant's Rock, where you can barely see some of the stories, but they are there, known to us or not, just there, tapped into the stone, the seven-fingered hand holding them down, holding them gently, before the rain that we know will come. Flint-edged summer aside, this is something that we know.
Guasinabo snake medicine in Comanche. Earth smells slowly emanate upwards. Sweet grass, cedar, sage, and ghost medicine interweaving inside the sweat lodge. My companion steps aside. I enter the dark space below me. Don't say it, he pleads. Yet your powerful name escapes my lips once again. Hidden in a snag, hibernating in wintertime, secreted in sweat lodge rafters, coiled in crooks, are sliding through dried fall prairie grasses, moving like spring lightning, rising up and flattening out, fitting through horizontal vents. Slim magnificence and terrible summer wonder. The Comanche name you tail with a design, a magical being. Your superbly beaded design, with its repetitive pattern and unspeakable, unblinking eyes. Like a strange puzzle and a great mystery, I say your name and you appear like magic. Somehow this terrible pleasure outweighs the fear as we conjure you together, the guest, an uninvited gift.
Public schools not to speak Kickapoo. I tell them, when a teacher tells you that, speak louder at them in Kickapoo. We talk resistance, we talk strength, we talk tradition, of our language, of our moon, of our stars, of our medicine, of our enemies, of our madness, of our love. We talk to our spirits who expect us to remember. We talk like you, laugh out loud, cry inside, color of the heart. I drove home that evening full. Days later, the echo spirit of their voices dissipated from my mind. Wherever you are, tucked away, urban exile, rural solitude,
Don't forget how things happen. Whirlpool birth, warm voices, deep from dawn, shaped by blue. Desert mesquite, cattail pools. The Gulf lifts the horizon. Tobacco offerings bundle between tradition and capture, summer and fall, school and life. Weave and comb tangled dreams, classroom myths feel empty. Clenched fists braid gentle words that shake, that swing, that fly.
There's been a chipping off, carving and claiming from waterways to interior deltas, second-coming settlers exploring bodies from fleshy riverbanks to shaded pines. You've got a mouthful of give me, and a handful of much obliged. Dwindling sands, counted and stored, marked like inventory, numbered, enrolled, verified, certified, organic, cataloged carefully beside red and white clay sampled, both entities whose bodies forget the flexibility of coiled pottery, under browned silt-worked hands. You've got a mouthful of give me, and a handful of much obliged. If the last bit of my home sits caked down a deep red line under crevices of my toenails, you would come sightseeing only to dig it out, sweeping the dirt away. 'Cause you've got a mouthful of give me, and a handful of much obliged.
This is called Putting Down Her Bundle. I have no time for weaklings subject to the whims of wild woman medicine, those distracted by the footloose and fancy-free. Grown women carry burdens and need feet stronger than those of men. I have no patience for fools putting hurt girls on pedestals, expecting them to conduct themselves as queens. I have no time for weaklings subject to the whims of wild woman medicine. Blind worship is a prison, not a castle for the feminine. A swift-running prisoner makes her getaway clean. Grown women carry burdens and need feet stronger than those of men. Women warriors in life's battles need hearts that are garrisons. Wise men look past those who pout and preen. I have no time for weaklings subject to the whims of wild woman medicine. Men who are veterans see the impediment of a woman not grounded, pretty but weak. Grown women carry burdens and need feet stronger than those of men. So don't be confused by the bait of estrogen. Bright baubles can lead to traps unforeseen. I have no time for weaklings subject to the whims of wild woman medicine. Grown women carry burdens and need feet stronger than those of men.
This is a picture, also a poem for California. Poem song for California. I want to show you a picture, which is the story in this poem. 20 years ago or so, my mother said this. My little sister and I stood with this one old woman when the men and boys left Acoma to look for work in California. Karahuriniatsi Zeeko. The Acoma people had gathered at the plaza to watch them leave and to give them all their love and prayers. A few of them had horses and some had burros, but most of them, amu, were on foot. It was a very poor time then. I think it was 1910 or 1911. All the people were having a hard time. It was a sad time that time. They had to leave Acoma to make a living, to look for work, for pay. And all that time since then, I remember a song the boys and men were singing when they left. Karahurinia, 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 Ashte Karahurinia, 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 Ashte That evening, my sister and I stood by ourselves at the western edge of the Acoma Mesa. Red clouds were in the sky. I remember in saying it was dust rising from the feet of the men and boys walking as they looked for work in California. And so, 20 years later, this is the picture I am showing you. California, 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 let us go. California, 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 let us go.